a few times throughout this for answering questions and interaction. So my name's April Leighton. My business is April Copy, and we do blogging and content marketing services for small business. And I work with Virtually Here in their blogging and newsletters, and the odd email you send on that. I'm really excited to be here. This is my first webinar. You may have noticed. But yeah, I'll skip most of the intro stuff. The real reason I'm excited to be here is because when I was first training as a copywriter, and I had a lot of training in copywriting, but I was contemplating starting a business, and I really didn't know, how to run a business. And I couldn't afford to get a lot of expensive training, and it was through the generosity of other business owners, like the creative partners who've been doing webinars with Virtually Here throughout this past year, that I learned pretty much everything I needed to know to get my business off the ground. So I'm very excited to be able to share this with you. Ask your questions in chat. We'll have a couple times specifically for questions. If you have any issues with sound or anything, drop it in there. You might want to have a pen and paper handy, or if you have a Word doc open and you're typing into that, it's a good idea. So today we're going to be covering why blogging's good for your business, how it can benefit it. If you haven't started yet, we're going to be covering your audience and how you can choose the topics to blog about. We're going to talk about planning ahead so that you stay on top of publishing and don't get sporadic and lost, as it were. And we're going to do an outline for either your first or a blog that you're wanting to write. So I'm assuming most people know what a blog is, but I'm still running into people, they're not quite sure. It started out as a weblog, which is originally a pretty much just a public online journal. And they sort of morphed there. Businesses started using them. What it is, it's a regularly updated section of your website where you post a new short article or a piece of news on a regular basis. And unlike journalism, it's a little more informal, it's a little more personal, and you can engage with your readers a lot more, either by asking them to interact with your blog directly or by engaging with them in the comments section of a blog. By the way, if anybody has questions about terms I use or anything, please toss it in chat so I can backtrack and make sure you understand everything. So that's a question some people have about blogging, because it doesn't seem like it's going to bring the money in right away. And it might not bring it in right away, but a blog can have a lot of beneficial effects on your business and on your marketing, and it can be a real help and a sort of supporting block to the marketing that you do for your business. Some of the many things that it can do is, a basic one is by having a blog on your website, you're sort of going just beyond the sales focus of your static website, and you're able to show people that you know what you're talking about, that you know your business, that you understand really everything that they need to know, that you're going to be the business owner who is right for them, or you're the person who's selling the product that's right for them. It's a really great way to showcase your expertise. It's also a really great way to engage with your customer, because a blog can be very relational. You can ask questions, you can get feedback, you can actually answer customer questions and concerns that they have within your blog. Another thing is it's a PR and marketing that you actually control. It's not going to get filtered through a newspaper's lack of space or a reporter's particular perspective. If you're into content marketing, it's a really good cornerstone for the basic building block of content that you can use throughout your business in multiple marketing avenues. It does work as a component of your sales funnel, although you have to consciously make it work that way. But it can be a really great way to engage people with what your business is doing now. And also a really great blogging benefit is it can improve your search engine results. We're not really going to get into search engine optimization or too much on this one, although feel free to ask questions about it. But by sort of making the content on your site bigger and wider and building it on this particular subject that you want to be recognized for, that's sort of like a proof of credibility for the search engines when they're like looking at your site versus another site in your same industry, and they're saying, well, who is really going to answer this person's need? So those are basic stuff. Blogging is really great because you can repurpose and reuse the content there in different marketing channels and avenues. It's a great way to draw people to your website on social media. So let's get into this. This is why I think you should blog, because small business owners, they're experts, but unlike larger corporations, you have some personal investment in the outcome for your customers. And that's the great thing about blogging, is that it's very personal. It doesn't have to be very personal if you're like, hey, I just want to be professional, and but it can be, and it's a great way to deepen your relationship with them. So this is sort of the fluffy version of what your blog can be about, because you might blog about something that you're not super in love with, but if you have a passion that's related to your business and you really want to share, and your customer has a need, where those things meet, that's a great place to start blogging. So the first thing you need to know before you start blogging, or as you're relaunching your blog, is who you're selling to or who you're writing to. You wouldn't go and start making sales calls if you didn't know who your target market was. So same principle applies. Who do you want to know about your business, and what do they need from you? So these are basic questions. If you don't know this, your target customer, depending on what your product is or what your business is or what the service you provide is, what does her life look like? What's her day-to-day? Does he actually know about your business and know that they need it? And do they have a particular outstanding need that you as a business owner can answer, or you as an expert in your field can answer? And what do you know that the other people in your industry aren't providing? What are you providing? What do you have on hand? What knowledge do you have that other people really aren't covering or aren't giving to their customers? So this is so you can blog about your products. You can blog about your mission. You can blog about community if your business is very, very community minded or involved. You can blog about your area of expertise. The real question is, what does your target customer want to know that you know? I mean, what's going to catch their interest? What is going to keep them coming back and saying, oh, hey, I need to go check that out. There's a new blog this week. So blogs can be informational. They can just be fun. They can be entertaining. A great one is you can be service oriented. You can be very cause oriented. They can be basic. They can be how to make a bench if you're a carpenter. Sort of an old term is infotainment, which is you're just being informational, but you're having fun with it. If you're more lighthearted and you don't like to get too serious, that can be a good way to do it. So this is where I'm going to ask if you guys want to pop into chat. Do you know who your ideal customer is? And what do you think you're going to write about that will keep them coming back every week? So just to give you an example, for Virtually Here, our target customers are small business owners like yourself. And we want them to see when they come to our blog that we can help them get the job done. So we do focus on just practical stuff. We have an email marketing series right now because that's just something that a lot of businesses need to do. We've had a social media series for a while. We talk about lots and lots of practical stuff, honestly, because as a business owner, you have an everlasting need to find out how to get the job done in a variety of areas. So does anyone want to pop in the chat? If you don't, that's okay, because we can keep going. Okay, so Peter. Hi, Peter. So Peter, what do you do for, or rather, what is your business? No, we can't hear you, Peter. Okay, so Peter's a coach. His ideal customer is a sales rep, marketer, or executive. And he wants to write about how to do their life to have success with less stress and what they want to know about. And how to have success with less stress is what they want to know about. I love coaches. I've learned a lot from them, so I'm glad you're here, Peter. If anybody else wants to pop in, feel free. Or if anyone has questions, like you're having trouble pinpointing your ideal customer, or you know exactly who they are, but you are clueless when it comes to what can you write about in a blog from month to month, go ahead and drop it in chat. So this is hard. This is the reason most people don't start blogging, is because they don't think they can consistently do it. And it's a little bit intimidating. Or this will be the reason that people just sort of start off and then it just doesn't get done because they don't plan ahead. And it's not impossible to plan ahead. It doesn't have to be that hard. It really can be as simple as a list of ongoing blog topics and a time of day where you say, okay, Thursday morning, 10 a.m., I'm going to spend 30 minutes, write a blog every week. It doesn't have to be too complicated. And it's really just an editorial calendar. It's just a list. the dates you want to blog, how often you want to blog, and ideas. And it can be fluid, but it's really great to have one, just because it sort of takes the stress away of like, what do I write about? When you know you have like 3 or 4 topics you can write about every month, it really makes it a lot easier to just dive in and get it done. So this is an example of the list of topics Virtually Here has coming up. We have an email series going on. So there's lots of things, mobile email. There's a couple social media things that we haven't covered yet, like Snapchat, and there's this new app, Pokemon Go, that a lot of businesses have been using. So that's on there. We've got content marketing. We've got a breakdown of constant contact. There's a local business, Minuteman Academy, that has an intern program. And Jackie at Virtually Here is very involved with CNRG. So, the end of the year is coming up. These are just ideas, and we do 2 blogs a month, so we've got a couple extra ideas here. So that's what it is, basically. So this is what we want you to leave with, is just basically, let's say you do 2 blogs a month. If you come up with 6 ideas, that's the next 3 months. So I don't know if you guys want to jump in and say what you want to blog about. You're more than welcome to. So here's some ideas if you're lacking for ideas. If you're just starting, you could have a welcome blog. If you have a business that people have to stop you and say, so what is that? You can write about misconceptions about your business or explain how your business works so that people understand how it benefits them. Lists are always good. Lists are fun and easy to write. If you're educating your customer is one of your goals, as a coach, Peter might write a how-to blog on how to stress less when you're planning an event or when you're trying to make a really big sales goal. Behind the scenes are fun, especially for local businesses where you have that physical store and a lot of stuff goes into everything that you're putting out there for your customers. Behind the scenes are kind of cool because people don't really know how things work who aren't in business. You can do guides. You can do a social media or a PR roundup about what's been going on with your business lately. You can do series of articles. If you have a really big topic that you want to share about, but it's just too in-depth to do just one blog about it, you can break it up into chunks and stretch it out over time. Industry news, you can do testimonials. If you are a business that creates products, you can do announcements about that. So if you guys have any questions about doing an editorial calendar, just pop in the chat. And Peter, do you have 6 blogs, out of curiosity, since you've been jumping in chat? Okay. Do you have a sort of an idea, Peter, of where you'd like to go with your blog for the remainder of the year? Like topics you want to cover? Okay, so Peter's saying he sort of did a brain dump of a bunch of ideas a while ago, but he didn't make it happen. So if you want, Peter, after this, you can take that calendar, say, okay, I'm going to blog. You could blog once a month or twice a month, and just go through all of your ideas, and pull out what you think is going to catch your target customer's eye as we go into the end of the year. So, I mean, business stress plus going into the holiday stress, you're probably going to have a lot to write about. So this is for if you're sort of lacking ideas. These are some blog topic idea generators. And what it is you just type in the keyword that you're focusing on, and it'll throw up a couple title options. It's not necessarily the most grammatically accurate tool, but it is good at helping you sort of get past writer's block and come up with a few different slants and perspectives for how you can write about a subject. And I'm going to drop that into chat for you guys so that you can use it. And guys, don't feel like you gotta save your questions for the end. If you've got questions now, it's okay to put them in chat. So, what's your first blog going to be about? I don't always do this, but when you're still getting in the habit of blogging, writing an outline can be helpful, especially that first first 3 months of blogging. It's still new. It's a little intimidating, even if you so an average blog is like 300 to 750 words. That's like half a page to 1.5 pages of typing. It's not that long. But when you're not in the habit of it, it can still be a little bit intimidating. So why outline? Some people don't. Some people hate outlines. They just need to start writing and brain dump. And that works for them. If you freeze before you get to that stage, an outline can help because, for one, you won't be staring at a blank page. Another great thing about outlines is it will help you stay on topic once you start writing because you have written down, where you want your focus to be. Another great thing about outline is it can show you where you need to do a little more research before you start writing. So later on, guys, we're gonna, I hope, do some outlines with you guys. So if you want to be thinking about what you would like to write just a single blog about, just toss it around in your head. I'm going to sort of show you how I've outlined in the past. An outline can be, very basic like this. You go through an introduction, you have a core problem or a question, you write down some steps you're going to take to solve the problem and how you're going to solve it. And yeah, write down what you need to know. The one thing you always want to remember is to have a call to action. And why? Well, if you just write a blog and you don't ask people to interact with it or engage with it or do anything once they've read it, it's just going to sit there on your website. Especially when you have a business that your blog is an integral part of, you want to give people a reason to interact with it, give people a reason to come back. And especially if you're using it as a component for your sales funnel, you don't want to write about something you're selling and then just leave off at the end with nothing, no action for them to take or anything. And this also, if you know what your call to action is going to be before you start writing, is going to help you focus and know what you need to say to your customer before you ask them to either engage with you in the comments or get in touch with you, or in some cases make the sale. It's not bad to sell on your blog. You don't want to do it all the time probably, but it's not bad. Another way to think about outlines, you may recognize this as advice that's commonly given for giving speeches. You start out, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then summarize, tell them what you told them. That's another, if you're in the habit of giving speeches, that's really just all a blog is. It's a very short piece. It's not super intense. That's another thing about blogging is you sometimes, if you haven't done it before, you feel like you just need to know more, and you need to know more about it. You need to know more about your business. If you're at the point where you're thinking about blogging for your business, you probably already have the basics. So don't let the unfamiliarity of it keep you from starting on it. So I'm going to show you guys what I did for an outline recently. If you recall the editorial calendar, I mentioned I was going to do a blog about Snapchat. If you don't know what that is, it's a small social media app that goes on your phone where you take a picture and you can write on it or shoot a short video. And yeah, it's pretty simple. And I had been reading a lot about it and how effective it was starting to get for larger brands. So I thought maybe we should do a blog and find out if it's right for small business. So this is my starter outline. I want to write about Snapchat for small business. Then that has the question of, I actually don't know if Snapchat is a good marketing channel for small business, because if it's not, then I'm not going to want to blog about it. So then I've got to research, I've got to find a class or a tutorial on Snapchat so I can figure out if this is actually something that I want to share with Virtually Here's readers. So I took the class. It was pretty interesting, pretty fun. So this is the outline I got out of that. Start out, I'm going to say, you know, why Snapchat is a great opportunity for small businesses who want to have social marketing. I'm going to need to have some statistics about reach and how the demographics are growing. I'm going to have to basically describe it because not everybody is up with all the latest trends, including me, obviously, and how it works. And then I want to do some just examples of how you can use it effectively for your business. And then I realized after sitting on this outline for a little while that I didn't really feel like I had a lot. Now you could make a 750 word blog just on that. But personally, even though I took the class and it was very, very interesting and exciting, I'm not personally on it. I'm not personally using it. And I didn't feel like I had a lot to offer. I felt like this was more like an overview, and I could just really only say, hey, this is a tool, and go here to learn more. So when you reach that kind of point with your blog where you realize you don't have enough or you're not satisfied with the way it's going, you can do two things. You can do more research, or you can sort of change up what the blog is about. So if you recall the editorial calendar, I had a little excess material. And I also had a note about looking into Pokemon Go, which is another app that's basically a game. And a lot of the businesses in my downtown area are starting to use this to get customers in their doors. So since I don't play it, I'll be honest, I wouldn't know about it unless my brother had told me about it, which he did very excitedly. But But yeah, they're both things that I know I've heard businesses getting good results for. They're so I decided to do an overview blog, which is basically here's 2 different ways your business can engage in a non-traditional way with your customers. So this is what the new outline looks like. I've still got the stats, Snapchat, how it works and how you can use it for your business. And then I have a different way, a different method that your business can use to get people in the door, which is Pokemon Go. And as the call to action, Virtually Here is a social media team, so that's sort of the soft call to action at the end is, hey, we can help you if you're trying to figure this out. So that's an example of how an outline showed me I needed to change things up before I got into writing. Does anybody want to get in chat and just try doing an outline? Okay. So while that's an example as that you can use for your outline, we'll jump on to the next part. So after you do your outline, you can let it sit for a while, or you can just write right away. Something I do is I'll often start out with an outline and then start writing within the blog with that outline right in front of me. Or you can sit on it, let it go for a few days. And then you just got to write it. So we don't have a lot to say aside from that, I guess. I have some tips for after you've written it. The first one is don't post it right away. I know it's super tempting once you've actually written your blog. You kind of want to post it right away because it's so satisfying finishing it. And it's so easy, especially if you're working within your blog platform, to just hit the publish button. But it's a good idea to wait because editing and rewriting can improve the quality of your blog a lot. Which is not to say that you're naturally a crappy writer. It's just to say that your first draft often doesn't completely express everything you want it to express. Some basic things after you let it sit for a while, just, spell check. You'll want to fact check, especially if you make statements about other people's businesses or statistics. You want to make sure you get them right. And a good one when you're going back and looking at things again is if you find that you're being vague or that you're generalizing a lot instead of making definitive statements. Being specific is a lot. It's easier for people to latch onto. They engage with specifics more. Specific numbers are like saying 93 people bought this product is better than saying hundreds upon hundreds of people bought this product. Some other things to keep in mind when you're rewriting. Once you start blogging, now, I mean, if you're just starting out and you're not quite sure, you're a little loose, it's okay to be fluid, but once you figure out who you're writing to and what you want your blog to be about, it's good to be consistent in how you present yourself. Now that doesn't mean you can't change things up a little, but if you have you know, a polite, professional way of talking about things and you keep it pretty much down to business, you don't want to turn into the crazy, wild, all over the place and very goofy writer the next week, and then a completely different writer the week after that. So it's good to stay in one basically consistent area. Another thing you probably want to think about if you're blogging regularly and you want your customers to engage a lot is just common courtesy. This is partially for you in the way you write about things. You know, you wouldn't walk into a business networking meeting and bash a business owner to their face and tell them they're horrible. Um, it's really easy to be down on other people, especially with the way we interact. Sometimes on social media, it's very normal for people to be aggressive and rude. But make a conscious choice about how you want to write about people and treat people before you start blogging. Because um, you won't know until you look back and realize, oh, yeah, I wouldn't say that to that person's face. You don't want that to be on your blog. Another thing you probably need to think about is if you're having people comment and engage in your blog, you want to think about what your standards are there. Like if you don't want name bashing, if you don't want foul language or harsh judgments in there, you're going to want to know what you are and aren't okay with when people come onto your site and interact with you. So this last one, CUBA, this is an acronym that writers use. So when you're going back and looking at your first draft again, look for these things. If things are confusing, that'll be if you start on one topic and you gradually trail off and end your blog on a completely different topic. That's when you don't know where your focus is supposed to be. Unbelievable. If you're doing a lot of promotion on your blog, not a bad thing to do on your blog. That's part of the reason that it's there. But you don't want to be so hyperbolic that people just look at you and they say, yeah, no, I don't believe that. If you've got big, huge promises that your business, you can deliver on, you just want to back up those big, huge promises with really definite language, with really good examples of proof about why your statement is true. It's not the time to be fluffy. You want to give people something solid. Boring if you're finding that that you have like a page-long paragraph just trying to get through this one hard to explain area of your business. You might want to break it up a bit. You don't want people to get lost and trail off and bounce off of your site. One other thing, like Peter mentioned earlier, he did a sort of a brain dump on a bunch of ideas for his blog. It's a really good idea if you know you're going to want to do this consistently. You're going to want to keep everything in one place. Your blog ideas, the drafts of blogs that are only partially written, the research you're pulling to write about on your blog. You can keep it directly on your blog or in a saved draft folder, or you can save it on your computer. Just the basic idea is if you want to save yourself a bunch of hassle, put everything in one place. That way you always know where to look for everything, and that way you always know where new ideas or things you want to share about that you see on the internet are supposed to go. It sort of cuts down on the clutter of trying to get your job done. So, that's about it for what we have. If you have any questions, okay, hey, Charlie, let me go look at your question. So, Charlie, you're having trouble with the target market because you don't have a business yet. Yeah, it's hard to start blogging when so do you have an industry that you're interested in, Charlie, by the way? Are you just like interested in entrepreneurship? You want to, you want to start something, but you're not sure what? So it's not a bad idea to start blogging uh, if you're not 100% sure what you're going to be doing with yourself. Okay, sustainability and materials recovery. Well, that's something to blog about. Uh, yeah, so you're already blogging. You have a subject you're passionate about, and it might turn into a business. It might not. One thing I'd say is, yeah. So okay, so you want to blog about sustainability and materials recovery. So I guess the big one. I don't know a lot about this subject, but I would say start breaking it down. Like break down every area of sustainability and materials recovery that you can blog about. Like the people who do it, the people who work in it, the political perspective on that. What do countries do to promote that? What can they do more? Uh, little actions that people can take to do this in their own lives. Do you want to talk about uh, I know like there's some people who want to live zero waste lives. I don't know if that's an area where that intersects. You can make it very personally. You can make it really broad. Um, you can make it personal to yourself if you're very passionate about doing this in your own life. Um, some people, they blog and they feel like they don't want to make it too personal. But if it's something that's you're very passionately involved in your life, being transparent about your own journey on a subject is very, very engaging for many people. But yeah, Charlie, if you're trying to be more focused, yeah, breaking down the big thing into lots of little subjects and seeing either where, uh, like figuring out, is there a lack of information on any of these smaller subjects? Can I provide that? Uh, Another thing would be when people ask you questions about this, your friends, the people you interact with in your life. Charlie has a blogging series about his experiences in Fenway Park with the Red Sox. That is cool. That is really cool. But yeah, so that's a series idea. I mean, you could start out by doing a couple different series and see what really gets the most response, and see what really generates your own ideas. Like what makes you realize, oh hey, I can keep blogging about this forever. But yeah, but don't be afraid to try things. But definitely like having that editorial calendar can help you sort of get it out there more and get more in the flow. And then when you do figure out where you want your focus to be, or if you want this to turn into something more to support a business, that will that'll help you move towards that. If you really embrace the discipline of blogging regularly, when you get to the point where you figure out what you want to blog, what you want your blog to support, or if you just want it to be a hobby, it'll reap its own rewards. Okay, if anybody else has questions, drop them in the chat. Something that some business owners have is, they feel like they can't write their own material. So for not writing your own material, it's just, do you talk to people? Do you talk to people about your business? If you can talk, you can write. I guarantee if you're the person who can talk someone's ear off about their business, about your business and about how you can help them, you've got stuff to blog about. Some ways to sort of get around the feeling like you can't write about things. I've got one friend who's a wedding photographer. She thought, I could just record this and then I'll send it off to a VA. They'll type it up and then I go in and edit it. That's sort of an easy brain hack where you take away the terror of writing. And yeah, that's a good one to have. So I think we're going to wrap up. Any last minute questions, toss them up. If you're watching this, usually the creative partners give a special offer for the people who come to us through Virtually Here. If you're at a place where you want to be blogging regularly, but it's just time-wise, you're really, really struggling with devoting time to it, something my business offers is an editorial package. And what that is it's basically everything we talked about today. I work with you as a copywriter for narrowing down your focus, creating an editorial calendar, and what you do by yourself is you write the first draft, but then you get to hand it off instead of having it sit on your computer or devoting lots and lots of time to going back and reworking it, or trying to figure out what else you need, or digging up research to add statistics and technical information you need. I take it at that point and I do the additional research and editing and rewriting so that we make it look like you want it to look like and make sure it's supporting your business. So yeah, for you guys who are listening, for the first 5 people who get in touch with Jackie, who watch this webinar, we're offering 50% off your first 2 months of that. It's usually around like $120 to $450, depending on how many times you want to blog a month. And you can just email Jackie at info@virtuallyhere.net. Yeah, and we're really happy you guys came on today. We'd love to stay in touch with you. Get in touch if you have any more questions about blogging, or you walk away and you realize you want help in certain areas. Virtually Here has a blog where we do lots of business information every other week. They're also on Facebook and Twitter. I'd love to stay in touch if you have any questions about blogging or copywriting or sort of presenting your business. I'm on LinkedIn as April Leighton. And I think that's about it. So guys, thank you. Have a great week. And we will see you later.
Thank you, April.